Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Veronica Quesada, and I'm delighted to be here today with Diane Guerrero from Orange is the New Black. In her book, In the Country We Love, Diane shares her story on the deportation of her parents, her struggle with depression, and living on her own at age 14 without her parents. Now, a theme that kept coming out throughout the story is money. It seemed to be at the center of a lot of the struggles that she went through, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So thank you so much for being here today, Diane.
Thank you. I'm like, I should have known. I'm like, money. And like, I'm like, oh, that's right, money. I was very broke. Yeah, no, it was intense. I mean, think about growing up with an immigrant family who's still struggling to find a path for citizenship and sort of just, working 2 or 3 jobs to put food on the table and trying to make ends meet. And then once a family is separated, the way ours was, I mean, we have, it's not like a regular family or a documented family where you have, you basically lose everything and you can't claim anything. So I didn't, I was left with nothing and my parents were left with nothing, and tried growing up that way, just with no money from your parents and sort of having to rely on the kindness of strangers. And also, as soon as I turned 14, well, I was 14 at the time, I was able to work, and so I got a part-time job. But working throughout high school and in college, your studies sort of falter because you're having to worry about making money to survive. So I talk a lot about trying to earn money in the book and how hard it was just by myself.
Yeah, and so when your parents got deported, you were 14.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that experience change the way you feel about money and security?
Oh, well, I didn't feel secure at all. I mean, although I always felt a little like my family was a little volatile always, because, I mean, money, I didn't miss anything. There was always food on the table, and I always went to school and I always had clothes to wear. And as far as my parents were concerned, that was all you needed to survive, and then everything else is extra and you work for it. And so I always had this mentality, so it wasn't like, oh my God, my life is over. I was a little prepared for this because my parents had taught me to work hard and to sort of really be ready for any sort of for what we went through, which was us to be separated. So yeah, I mean, it was really hard, and I was scared about security, but that was always an issue.
Yeah, you talk about having to work at such a young age. I mean, you were hustling, you were getting it.
I mean, yeah.
You worked everywhere. You worked at a club, at a bar, Barnes and Nobles. What was that like?
I mean, I think for some reason, I mean, I really, at the time, I would be really upset because sometimes it was great, I was like, I'm working, I'm making it on my own, but sometimes it was really hard, and all I wanted to do was sort of hang out and be with my friends and be a normal teenager or a normal college student, or what I thought was normal, which was to sort of hang back and chill. But I always had to work. I always had to say goodbye to my friends like early in the day because I'm like, I gotta go to work, I gotta put this hairnet on, or I have to go put this apron on or whatever. And when I got a little older working at the clubs, I would always see everyone having fun and I would have to serve them. But honestly, it really taught me the value of earning money and the value of a dollar, and it taught me how to respect people in the service industry. It taught me how to expect excellence when I go out and I do spend money. And it just, it made me understand that how hard my parents worked, and it really made me appreciate that. And so I think looking back, it was certainly a good thing to work all those different jobs, and now I feel like I can handle myself in social settings really well, and also when I go to a restaurant or I go anywhere, I understand that people work really, really hard for what they have, and that's always valuable.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to cut to a really quick ad. When we come back, we're going to be talking about student loans and Orange is the New Black, so stay tuned. It's in an ad now. Welcome back. We're here with Diane Guerrero from Orange is the New Black. Now we're going to start talking about student loans and Orange is the New Black.
Dun, dun, dun. Not Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, not together.
Student loans are crazy.
Student loans, yeah. So you had a big struggle with student loans.
Oh my goodness.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it was tough. I mean, the first year of college, I had a scholarship, but then after that, I sort of didn't have anything. I didn't have a plan, and obviously I didn't have my parents to co-sign a loan for me. I didn't have any credit. Yeah, so I literally had to go through all my family members and friends, and luckily I had a really great community, and the people who took me in when I was young, they were able to help me out. But, you know, sometimes I wouldn't be able to go to class or purchase books. And, you know, those are the struggles that the average college student faces nowadays. Like, you get into college, and now what? Mm-hmm. How do you pay for it? And then having to keep up with the loans right after, you know, it can really cause a lot of stress if you don't have any means to pay for it, if you're playing catch up. And also if you don't have basic skills to really manage your money. And that was definitely me. You know, my parents left when I was really young, so I didn't really have that. I didn't know how to balance a checkbook. I didn't know really how to manage my money, and so that was really hard, and that was a cause for so many stressors and anxiety that later led to depression, or was one of the reasons. Obviously, other than you are separated from your family, money is a big issue. That's how you live. That's how you eat. That's how you pay for things.
Yeah, and so many millennials and students are actually dealing with this. It's a huge issue. So what advice would you give to someone that feels like they're burdened with debt, there's nothing they can do, and they can't succeed because of that?
Right. Well, I mean, first and foremost, I would tell you that just because you have debt doesn't mean you can't succeed. That's not true, because I had debt up to my eyeballs, but mostly with student loans. I made sure that the only debt that I had was with student loans. Okay. Everything else, I made sure that I paid. So I didn't open up any unnecessary credit cards, anything like that. I didn't owe money. You know, I was telling my friend earlier, I'm like, if I owed you $5, I would pay you the $5. I'd be like, look, next week, Wednesday at 2 o'clock, you will get these $5 back. So just making sure that you're covering all of your bases. And if you do have student loans, make sure you try to find a way to defer. But definitely don't ignore them. I think for a long time I ignored student loans, and that, of course, created, you know, I was just hit with a lot of interest, and that was a nightmare. But I would also say, you know, make sure that you know what you want to do. What you know, sometimes you think that you have to pick a major, you have to go to school just because you know, you could take a year off and figure out what you're doing and learn how to manage your money. I think that's always important. You don't always have to jump to right into college right out of high school. I think that there are so many creative ways now to find an education, and, you know, give community college a chance. That's not a bad thing. Go a year, 2 years, and go to community college and kind of see what you really want to do for a career. And then maybe move on to a 4-year college or something like that. So really get to know yourself, I think, would be my best advice.
Yeah, so kind of shifting gears towards Orange is the New Black. Something that you pointed out in the book I thought was interesting was when your parents were detained in jail.
Sure.
It was very hard for you. It was one of the lowest moments. And then one of the highest moments is you getting hired to be on Orange is the New Black, and you're like in a jumpsuit also, and you're also in jail. How did that feel going into that situation?
Well, I mean, at first, getting a job as an actor, getting a gig was just like the most exciting thing in the world, and it still is. I mean, when I get a call back for anything, I'm just like, oh my gosh, me? And then I don't get it, and I'm like, not me? But it's part of it, right? It's just like anything. It's like, you know, going out for a job like yours, or as an accountant or a lawyer. It was really exciting, but I guess in the back of my mind, you know, worrying about stereotypes, worrying about how people will perceive me, and also worrying about, my goodness, this is the same experience. I saw my parents sort of live through this, and it was a little heartbreaking, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, your home's to Bel Air kind of thing. You know, it was that my Fresh Prince moment where I was like, all right, let's do this. So it was great.
Yeah, and what do you think your character Maritza would say about money?
Oh my gosh, she'd be like, well, like, I heard, like, in the internet. No, I'm kidding. I think she'd say, look, like, you know, earning money is hard, but you got to do what you got to do. You do. You know, and you hustle and you find different ways that you're, you know, that you can earn money. Maybe not in an illegal way. Hopefully it is the legal way, which she is desperately trying to do. And you'll see that in season 5 for sure. Great.
And one last question.
Sure.
In the story, Maritza, she used to work at a nightclub.
Yes.
And you did that in real life.
Yeah.
Was that a coincidence? Or
a total coincidence.
Oh my God.
A total coincidence. I think they just took one look at me and they're like, yeah, talk to a waitress. I'm like, thanks, guys. But it was actually really fun and very fitting to her personality.
Yeah.
To kind of hustle money that way, to just you know, sell bottles and alcohol and sort of try to use her charm in that sense, which a lot of young girls do. And, you know, not knocking on it. Hey, if it pays your rent and if it pays for food and to take care of your kid, you go for it. I mean, you do what you have to do.
Yeah. And did you ever have to negotiate any kind of salary or pay?
With bartending or anything like that?
Yeah, or with any job.
Oh, with any job? Oh, sure. I mean, I do it all the time as an actor. You know, you're as you do more work, you feel like your value maybe goes up, or, but sometimes you negotiate, and if you really are invested in a project, then you don't care how much you're making. You know.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have. We're going to have an article and a video come out later on money.com, so make sure you check that out. And Orange is the New Black comes out next Friday.
Yes.
On Netflix. Make sure you tune in. Her book, In the Country We Love, is on sale. It's great. I couldn't recommend it enough. If I could spend an hour talking about it, I would. It's such a great story.
Thank you so much.
It was really great. So, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.